Hi everybody, this is video 849. It is very late. It's almost midnight on June 9th. And I just kind of had some odds and ends. Um, I watched the first night of the um, not presidential, the January 6th committee, and that's not what this video is about, so don't turn away. Maybe you will turn away, I don't know. But I just kind of wanted to talk a little bit about just kind of some weird feelings today. So there may not be a point to this, okay? It's just going to be kind of like a train. There'll probably be some, caboose at the end and an engine at the front. But I got an email about an hour ago. My mom and my stepdad are going on a trip to Japan, and I've always wanted to go to Japan. I still would want to go to Japan. But, in the last, I'd say 3 or 4 years, and they're retired, you know. I think my stepfather is in his mid 80s. My mom is in her early 80s. And so, they're definitely in kind of the last hurrah, for a better word, of their lives, you know. There's going to come a time when they're not going to be so mobile, as they are now. Which probably explains why they went to Europe, they went to India, they went to New Zealand, they went to Australia, they went to just a lot of different places, Germany, France, okay? But, I guess as I was reading the email, and I kind of thought about it, it's like, I have friends who go places and do things, and everyone's allowed to do that. That's not what I'm complaining about. But it's just kind of like, as an adult, um, I've never had that opportunity. I've never had that, hey, I'm going to go to, North Carolina for the weekend. Now, granted, I have a daughter, and I'm basically a single mom, so, things are pretty tight, as you might imagine. But I don't know, it's just kind of like I won't say I felt a little bit of disparity. Um, and like again, my condition, I count my blessings. I got to transition. Have a pretty good job. Keep my sanity type thing. It's in like 15 years I can retire. Knock on plastic if I live that long. And I'm trying to. My daughter is about to launch in a couple years. She's going to be on her own. And so I guess I started to think about, well, what kind of is the next thing for me? And I just don't know. I don't know. I don't know what happens when like when you're a parent, you have a child goes away. My dad and my stepmom, they moved when I went off to school and sold the house, threw all my stuff away, including my Star Wars action figures. They threw all my stuff in the garbage, and it was like, you're out of here. We're gonna start our own life, and like, but before then, as if we weren't really a tight family unit, you know. But as I struggled to come to terms with me, and later got married and had a daughter and everything, they continued to travel, and as is perfectly fine. But I just wonder, am I gonna ever have that opportunity? Like, and would I take it? You know, I would definitely want to take my daughter to like Colonial Williamsburg or, uh, to go see like the Smithsonian and, there are things that we haven't done as a family that I think other families do. And I know there's a danger in comparing yourself to other people, because some people are going to do more, some people are going to do less. There's just so much variety. But I guess I thought about, and then later, which we'll get to in a minute, um, I saw a picture of my sister, and she she travels quite a bit. She's married, remarried, divorced, remarried, but she too gets to go on these like vacations and trips, and you know, it's not jealousy. I'm not feeling jealousy. It's just I'm like, what what is the next thing for me? And I don't know what that is. You know, I don't have the money right now to do much of anything. Oops. Um, which is not a complaint. I mean, I am surviving, okay. Um, but much like you, I would imagine, um, with all the inflation, I mean, gas in the car and food. I mean, there really is no leeway, you know. But again, part of me was asking, well, what is the future? What does the future hold? And I guess none of us really know it, you know. Um, but anyway, back to this email I got from my stepdad with with their trip itinerary. It was neat because it was the first time I had gotten an email from my stepdad that was to my sister and Karen. You know what I mean? And so it was like, it took me a minute. I'm like, who are they talking to? Oh, it's me. So that was really cool. I mean, that's like the high point of my day today. Um, excuse me. But it really just kind of made me, like I said, wonder a little bit about the future. And then, kind of wonder about, you know, sorry, I keep hearing a noise behind me. And I think it is a cat. Okay. Supposedly there's a ghost cat in this apartment. But anyway, another story for another time. But I just kind of wonder, like, will I meet somebody? Will I ever, will there be a Mr. in my life, or maybe even a Mrs.? I doubt it'll be a Mrs. I think it'll be a Mr. But I just kind of wonder. And this weekend I'm playing in a D&D game for the first time with a group of people who, um, it's five new people that don't know anything about me. Don't know anything about my past. This is the only thing they know, and this is the only way I sound to them. And so I'm kind of nervous. I'm kind of excited because it's almost like a new beginning, you know? And I do wonder a lot about if I'll find somebody because of my age, you know? Um, the oldest person in this bunch is probably 32, 33, and I'm 50, you know? And so I think if I was to find somebody, it would be someone who would understand that, just because I have some gray hair, I'm still a fun kid. I'm still a fun kid at heart. I still play D&D, and you know what I mean. It's like, and I have hobbies and stuff like that. But I don't know how it's gonna. I don't know how it's all gonna come about. And I had some free time tonight, and I was like, well, what do you want to do? And I'm like, well, do you want to play a video game? No. Do you want to put some models together? No. Do you want to read? No. What do you want to do? I don't know. You know, and I've very rarely does that happen to me. Usually there's, five or six things lined up, and at the moment I'm just kind of like, I'm happy to be existing, but I don't really know if I'm living. You know what I mean? I'm surviving, but I don't really know if I'm living, if I'm engaged in any, you know what I mean? Like actively doing something. And yet, I know that I'm working a lot of overtime right now because of the, inflation and, you know, um, seems like I go to the grocery store and I spend all of our money on food that we need to eat. And so it's like there's really no wiggle room, you know? All of the power bills, the electricity, the water, they go up every month, and I budget for a little bit of increase, but there doesn't seem to be any discretionary income, but I'm thankful again. I'm thankful that I'm above water, but there really isn't much wiggle room. And I have to do, 10 hours of overtime a week and or else we sink, and I don't know, I'm just rethinking a lot of things in my life right now, and it's like again, I don't have the next thing around the corner. And that's okay. Something will fill the void. Um, you know, but I don't know, just kind of like I said, I'm not melancholy, but it's like I don't know what the next thing is. And I guess really nobody does, but people tend to plan, we're going to go here this summer, we're going to go there, we're going to do this. I'm going to paint the house. I'm going to, it's like they have plans and I don't. And I don't really feel like doing anything, you know? So it's just kind of a weird limbo. And, I'm kind of, maybe I felt this way for 2 or 3 weeks. And it's like all I do is work. And then, because I work overtime, I come home and I cook, and then I'm tired and I fall asleep as soon as I sit in the chair. And then I wake up at 2 or 3 in the morning. I'm like, oh my gosh, I fell asleep again in this chair. And then I wake up and I go back to work. I go to work early so I can get another hour of overtime. And, again, it's a way to survive, but it's not really a way to live, you know. Um, but I don't know. Maybe this is just the way that this goes, and something will pop up, eventually. Nature abhors a vacuum. It wants to fill stuff, but I don't feel any pull. You know, I got out my my Druid books so I could start my Druid course over again and maybe finally finish it, and then move on to the next stage. Um, I have to take a test and study and all that, but again, there's no desire. There's no. So I guess I'm just stuck making a video. um, it's been a weird time. It's been a weird. This pride has been kind of weird. The way the world is right now, and I know I'm tired. I'm tired of. It's almost like a rubber band. Pandemic, World War III in Ukraine. Food shortage, inflation, mass shootings, and then we finally are getting to the January 6th stuff, and it's like, okay, I can't stretch anymore, you know. And then in all of this, I'm sitting here going, will I meet someone, you know? And then you get to, I'm like, well, not how do I tell them about myself, but there are times I made a video the other day. I can't, I don't stay this voice all day long. Um, I almost forget about it sometimes. But my daughter, we were watching TV earlier, and I think I yawned, and it was like a Chewbacca, type thing. And I just was like playing with it, and and she was just like, you know. And I think I looked over to her and I said, you know, what's wrong, baby? And she looked at me and she said, Karen? And I said, oh, I'm so sorry. What's wrong, baby? And it was like, again, and not identity crisis, but what if I'm with somebody, Mr. Right, Mr. Goodbar, and we're having an intimate moment or something, and I moan in pleasure, and I drop into my old voice or something, and he's gonna be like, "What the fuck was that?" So definitely, I want to, you know, he's gonna know that I'm transgender, but I guess he's gonna have to be cool with it. I mean, it's, um, that I am gonna drop my voice. Um, when I yawn, or I don't know. Maybe that's the next frontier. That's the next undiscovered country, you know? But I don't know, just kind of a string of things here. I'm just kind of like, eh, I don't know, you know. Um, I was kind of expecting a job, a position to open up at work, and it hasn't yet. And it'll happen when it happens, and I'll apply for it. And if that's what happens, that's what happens. But like I said, there's just it's like there's a lot of potential for a lot of different things, but then there's nothing too at the same time. It's like a desert, and I'm just plodding along. And maybe that's what adulthood is, you know? Maybe that's why people get boring when they I don't know. I just don't know. To be continued, right? Um, I have one more thought, then I'll shut up. You know, I was watching a music video from the 80s, okay? And the girl singer, the woman singer, she's singing along, and they pulled back the camera, and they showed her, and she was in this beautiful dress, and she had on these white pump heels. And I just was sitting there, I was going, you know, not I wish, but I don't know if I don't have anything I could even begin to compare. Like, my legs will never be I mean, it wasn't like Barbie proportions, okay? It was, woman leg shoe, and I was like, my legs are not that way. I'm not built that way, you know? But I was like, man, can you imagine having, legs like that, and to be able to wear a high heel shoe? And I'm 6 foot tall, And I just can't imagine, but, and I think back to a friend of mine who's recently passed. She was 6 foot something and she wore high heel shoes. She didn't give a fuck, you know? And, maybe that's my next again. Maybe I need to just say fuck it, and if I had the opportunity and the money, buy myself some shoes. I have shoes. Well, it's on the other side of the door, the shoe rack. I have shoes from when I had lost all the weight, and I can't. There's no way I can wear those shoes now. I mean, um, it's like Cinderella's stepsisters have to cut off my toe and my heel and everything else. And that's not to say I won't wear them again, but I think at the time I was trying to goad myself into a smaller shoe size, and now I'm like, no, if it ain't a size 13, I'm not going to wear it. And then the other thing is I wear sneakers all the time, and so my feet are like spread out. When you wear pumps, everything's kind of pushed together. You know, I don't know. Now I'm rambling. Anyway, I was just again, I was kind of. It's not jealousy, but it is kind of jealousy. So I can come close, but I won't be the thing that I'm looking at. You know, and that's the same way, like with a relationship. When I see my sister, I think about my mom and my stepdad, being in a couple, and they, double income, no kids, and they can do whatever the hell they want to do. And will I ever have that? You know, I don't know. We'll see. But I was kind of flirting with the guy earlier, and he lives. Excuse me. He lives in Florida, and he's from Holland. And we were talking. I'm like, and he's like, yeah, I moved over here. How many years? And I was like, man, if you ever go back to Holland, take me with you. You know. And I just, could I leave all of this? Would I? Could I? I don't know. Probably not. I wouldn't want to be so far away from Katie, my daughter. But anything's possible. So anyway, like I said, not sure if there's a point, but just kind of sharing some. It's not like I said, it's not jealousy like I'm angry. It's just like, gee, I would kind of like that too. And I'm sure I'm not the only one. I'm sure everybody has that. You know, I wonder what that would be like. I wonder what it would be like to go to Iceland and swim in the geothermal springs, or um, I've always wanted to go to Norway. You know, right now it's like not possible, and I'm not in a position to leave. Not saying I would want to, but I'm just saying to a degree, I feel like there's not that I make a mistake, because I realize there's give and take, but I don't know. It's not. Is this as good as it gets? I'm just kind of looking around, going, what's the next story? I don't know. But everything I kind of have around me, I don't want to do. And maybe again, that's normal too. I can remember in college, I had a roommate who said, "Yeah, I got the blahs." I said, "You got the blahs?" He said, "Yeah, I got the blahs." Blah, blah. And maybe that's what this is too. I don't know. But anyway, it's after midnight, so I must get back to my coffin. um, but I hope everything's good with you, and we'll see you the next time I don't have anything on the horizon, so we'll just see what happens. All right, bye bye. Good luck in becoming your authentic self, and I will continue to try and use my voice. All right, bye bye.